What's up, my friends? I'm cruising to work in my 2017 Fiat 500e. The E stands for electric. This is 100% electric. It's got a 24 kilowatt hour battery. And I want to tell you a little bit why I think it's a pretty affordable alternative to a Tesla. So this is a compliance car. They go for about $35,000 brand new. They're only made in California and I believe Oregon. But you can get them real low mileage off lease for under $9,000, anywhere to $6,000 to $9,000. I happen to pay $8,700 for this one. It was mint condition, low mileage, had a little over 7,000 miles on it. Looked like it had never seen rain before. I almost didn't want to daily drive it. It was so clean. But so far, I've been pretty happy with it. For the price, you can't beat it compared to a new Tesla or even a used Tesla. I mean, there's very low maintenance on this thing other than tires and fluids. It does have a active cooling system for the battery, which that's a upgrade over the Nissan Leaf, which you may say that's a comparable EV to this car. But for me, it's great. It pretty much pays for itself. I was spending about $200 a month driving my truck back and forth to work. I've got about a 75-mile round trip commute. I could have paid cash for it, but the interest rates were so low, about 2%, and my payment's right around $150 a month. With the insurance and everything, it pretty much pays for itself with the money I would have been spending on gas driving my truck back and forth to work every day. It's real fun to drive, especially around the corners. Even though the stock suspension sits a little high, the battery pack is underneath the car. It weighs about 600 pounds, and it transfers the center of gravity down real low, so it just stays planted in the turns. Like I said, except for the suspension flexes a little bit, but that and the straight line acceleration, if you give it a little gas off the line, it'll pin you in your seat a little. I'm gonna do a performance test here next week, so stay tuned for that. We'll see what it can do in the straight line. I mean, it's not crazy fast, but it's a lot more fun than driving a Prius. Short wheelbase, getting in and out of parking spots and parking lots is really easy. Not a problem with this car. The range on it is limited. They rate it at 87 miles from the factory, but you can exceed that depending on temperature. I'm usually over 100 miles when I fully charge it. Some people have gotten close to 110. It all depends on your speed. It was made for the city, so the slower you go, the greater the range, really. But like I said, with my average commute each day is about 75 miles. I make it home, depending whether I run the air conditioner or not. I make it home with around 20 to 30% left on the battery. The farthest I've ever made it was 90 miles. I had to do some errands in town one day, and I pushed it a little bit, and I still made it home with 13%. So it's pretty good. It's perfect for me. Obviously, you wouldn't want this to be your only car if you travel a lot. It's just not going to be able to make it on those road trips without making tons of stops and careful planning. It's doable, but I wouldn't recommend it. It charges on the factory charger on the 120 volts. Takes about 20 hours, but you can run it off 240 on the factory charger, and it'll take about 8 hours to fully charge from a almost fully depleted battery. Like I said, I get home with about 20 to 30%. Plug it in at night before I go to bed, and it's ready to go in the morning. Despite the small stature on the outside, it's actually pretty roomy on the inside as far as headroom and leg room. I'm 6 foot tall, 195 pounds, and have plenty of room to sit comfortably. Got a couple cup holders in the front, as well as a couple cup holders in the back. Now, the back seat space is a different story. It's a little cramped back there. I did have 3 adults in the car when I first picked it up. Did a little test drive with some coworkers. It also has a decent amount of trunk space for a car this size. The back seats fold down, and you can really fit a lot of stuff down there. I've seen where people do a rear seat delete and fit a 55-gallon drum in the back of the car. So there's options. Got a little storage under here for your air pump. I got a little socket wrench there, and you can store your charge plug as well. This little thing here gives you some security. My windows are tinted though, so it doesn't really matter. but it has a decent amount of storage, especially if you fold down or delete the rear seats. Now it does have some basic features. It has a radio, obviously. It has nav, which I never use. I just use my Google. Simple controls, touchscreen. The transmission controls are really just got park, reverse, neutral, and drive. Real simple. Does have an aux cord, USB input, 12 volt for your cigarette lighter, Bluetooth for your phone, a couple map lights overhead. You got some mirrors and your sun visors here. The power windows are kind of in an odd placement, but you get used to it after a while. Automatic climate control. Most importantly, the traction control off, which right now I have the power steering fuse pulled. I was just testing out the feel with it. I actually kind of like it. It's not quite as sensitive, gives a little more feel of the road. But for everyday driving use, you want to have that power steering, especially in parking lots. But overall, the interior cabin noise is fairly quiet for this car. Like I said, I'm going about 59 miles an hour right now, and it's not too bad. It's a real blast to drive, real affordable. I don't know if you can beat it for the price. The only downside, I would say, being that they only are sold in California and Oregon, it may be hard to find service for them. I found one dealer in my area. It's about an hour away. If I ever have any issues, I'm just going to have to bring it to them. That would be the only downside, I would say. Like I said, you can get them at auction, $6,000 to $9,000, depending on the condition. I ended up buying mine in Dallas from a dealer who had bought a bunch of them and had them shipped. Kind of weighed the cost of me buying one sight unseen, then paying for shipping costs, and it kind of balanced out. And this one I was able to go test drive, lay my eyes on, make sure everything checked out, make sure the battery was good to go, hadn't been sitting up for a while. So it was just that peace of mind. I may have spent a few $100 extra on it, but in the long run, I think I was better off with that peace of mind, knowing that I was getting a good vehicle and what condition it was in. It does have regenerative braking, which is a cool feature. As you can see, goes to blue when you let off. You give it a little gas, your power meter goes up, you floor it, goes red, shows your kilowatts. Right now, you see I'm averaging 141.6 mpge, which can't beat that. I think it's rated for around 100 from the factory, so I'm exceeding those limits. This car has around 115 horsepower and 146 foot-pounds of torque, but like I said, being electric, it's instant. Although there is some torque management, I believe, under 15 miles an hour, it just doesn't seem to go out the hole as if you hit it from a roll, say around 15 miles an hour, where it actually pins you back in the seat a little bit. So it's got a little fun factor. Now, obviously, it's not as fast as a Tesla. I think even the lowest model runs in the high 13s in the quarter mile. So this thing should be in the round 15, 16 second quarter mile. So, but we'll test it out here next week, and I'll post the video. But like I said, if you're looking to get into the EV game and not spend a whole lot of money, I think this is a perfect option. It's fun, kind of gives you the idea of what you're getting into and what it's like to own an EV. For me, this is my first EV, and so far I really like it. I think I'll maybe put some aftermarket wheels and just drop it just a little bit. Like I said, get rid of that 4x4 stance. The only other thing I've done to it is the ceramic tint, which really helps down here in the south. So that about wraps up this quick little overview of the car and some of the features. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button, and stay tuned next week for the performance testing. Till then, I'm back road bound.